just some ice, cooler than the oven. Her Gucci kept on coming cause I flew that bitch to London. Meet up with the queen and she usually wanna iron. Fly boss bitch, baby she turned the lights off quick. Yeah, we should have grown up, I'm so up. Y'all on the power man, baby you know buzz. Yeah, like years ahead of you niggas. Taking reach shot blocks, getting there with my niggas. Rather for you to die instead of my niggas. Niggas turning they backs, I'm better with niggas. Yeah, okay, back to the bitches. Never the hell home. One thing I sell though, one thing I'm in jail though. The other one think I'm a male hoe. The other one don't know I got a cell phone. Oh, man, you live like us, that new definitely you are, man. You got that, you got that, you got that. You made it to yourself, that's how you are, man. I got two bitches and they want all that time. You know, Doelowdapilotman, flight calls, airwave day, airborne George, aircraft bags, starship, net, copy, press, TLY, something like tell stories, saga, but it's like here, no Disney, no Toy Story, HBO, new plane in the flesh, rolls higher, freestyle any day that I want to, flight calls, bitch, you know that I want you, and you know I'm in the sky and I'm up to, baby, no, I ain't never gonna find you, and you know I ain't never gonna front to, I don't care, baby, you know I'm in love, bro. I got buttercream face on Mark Morrison neck. Stop. How about your day? Thrown out, double scale, dual stick neck. I don't say no other than that. You don't know if it's Gemini or Libra or Aquarius. Something that's flunked out air energy, flunked out indecisive energy, flunked out air-headed energy. Oh, that's it. They don't go no further than that. Welcome to the energies of goddamn numerology, Gematria, tarot card, and other buttercream flunked out stuff that they created witchcraft and calendars with. All that good stuff. Stop. And it's gonna be obvious. It's gonna be obvious. You're gonna be able to see everything that you see right now, and it ain't gonna be no mystery. You're gonna be like, oh, that's obvious. I already see that. Oh, they already doing that right there. Oh, they already look like that. Oh, they already made my mama go downtown and vote. Oh, they already made my grandma go to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be saying some stuff like, oh, this is what's going on right now. Oh, just the magnitude of it, the different circumstances of it is gonna be filtered through specific card, specific number, specific circumstance. I'm saying that's what we here to break down. We don't want to get nobody misguided. We don't want to get nobody miscellaneous and flunked out and stuff like that. We want everybody to understand what's actually going on when we start to get into numerology, gematria, and how they be piecing together numbers, and we make characteristics out of them. You know what I said? Now, it's a thing, but what kind of energy you put in that inanimate object is what give it power. See what I'm saying? For an example, two rocks is there. If it's two cavemen and cave women there, right? And they don't know how to make a system around, even when they ain't around, they taught somebody else how to explain to each other what these objects are. aka sand the number 2, then for the most part, just there being 2 rocks mean nothing. But when the prime mover, when the intellectual mind, the energy start to add to the inanimate object, right? That makes the rock matters more now. See, now rocks could be precious. Why? Because we could build a house with it. See what I'm saying? So, for the most part, it's getting you to understand what witchcraft actually is without the spookism. You know what I'm saying? It's just basically being able to allow others to pay attention to something even when you ain't around. That's witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes into the things you feel like you have to do to persevere in the world, these are constructs that they have created that they don't even have to come knock on your door one by one and hang y'all upside down on crosses anymore for you to do what they need you to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Now, so when it gets into energies of how they be utilizing the numbers and stuff like that, okay, that's one thing, because we're mapping out the time to keep it. You know what I'm saying? The keeping track of moving objects, that's just what time means. Keeping track of from point A to point B of any kind of cycle, whether it's a mental cycle, physical cycle. You know, a mental cycle ain't nothing but fusion, friction, pressure, condensity. You know what I'm saying? Fire, water, air, earth. But for the most part, same order. But in the physical world and things of that nature, when that condenses and becomes solid, we get to see something move slower in vibration, aka it takes longer to expire, but based upon the deterioration of the objects via person, tree, bush, object, ant, bug, species, atom, we're piecing out from the time that we observed it and we ain't see it being born to the time that it expire, aka fully deteriorate, or a person or animal or another species die. And that's technically what we're practicing as a witchcraft of what we're calling time. See what I'm saying? So we have different versions of time. This is how we get daytime, tracking the sun. This is how we get your time, when you was born. So there's multiple beginning points. Anything you can see in real life. Thank you so much for the donation, Julius Payne. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Anything you can see every day, that lets you know it exists. And I really appreciate that. Everything, because I don't want to be saying something, because I'm an Aries, I know how fast I can switch. Plus, I'm a Mercury in Aries. It'll make a person feel like I'm not, so I always have to go back. I appreciate that. But the energies that we are in and things of that nature, this is what they're trying to encapsulate as an energy that they force their own inanimate object energy. I mean, they force their own energy in that inanimate object and things of that nature. And then for the most part, and I had another point before I was talking about that. Hold on. What was the other point I had? See, anytime I don't hit this and start talking a little bit, I leave Earth. It'll make a person feel like I'm not, so I always have to go back. I appreciate that. But why would I act like was born? So time. That's all I was talking about, time. But yeah, keep track of the time. So for the most part, based upon what we do around these things that we made up to understand time, it's adding the energy to that inanimate object. Now, since you're not trying to observe these things for yourself, that we'll all come to the same conclusion of mapping out a time or a clock, you don't have the ability to be at the round table to discuss what character is going to be in these patterns. So when we have people in control of that, that's why they're in control of what's going to be the holidays, what's going to be this, what's going to be that. See what I'm saying? Due to the fact of them understanding a system, which we all could understand, but them creating a character around it, which is all of our power we have also. When you don't know your power, someone use your mental power for you. So instead of you having control of these things, you're being controlled by these things created by others. So you're not in control of your thoughts and feelings and emotions when Halloween come around. They are. So you start to think and feel you need to go buy a costume, or get your kids a costume, or go buy some candy, or do something that you could justify that's a low-hanging fruit from theirs. But when you play it out, you don't think you're doing nothing wrong because it's general consensus. And therefore, this is how they have the whole world plan out their energies, whether you know it or not. And you'll be thinking you're doing something good that's actually against your favor, based upon general consensus and what seemed to be convenience because of the witchcraft of the character that they put in the inanimate object, each position in the sky. See what I'm saying? This period of the year can mean anything. It don't necessarily have to mean death. Who said it has to mean death? These are things they're coming up with based on things we all can experience to develop a character around for ourselves anyway. You get what I'm saying? So first you got to understand the law first, the mechanism. You can't just be someone who be like, oh, we're here to make up something. But you're not even intelligent enough to gain comprehension and understanding a mechanism. So you'll be saying stuff like, well, I don't think Aries is the first sign because I think Aries is, it'll start getting into some thoughts and feelings or some other indoctrination type stuff that don't got nothing to do with the actual reason the people who indoctrinated you called it Aries. Before you get into a bias, understand the space that they in. The reason why they called it Aries because it's the sun at the beginning of what we're calling, which spring off of what we call the season, beginning of spring. So for the most part, first understand that first of why somebody calling something first, and then come up with your idea. Other than, you know what I'm saying, piggybacking and then thinking that the idea of things is to come up with your own idea. No, you got to come up with your own idea about a mechanism that we all spiritually created as a team. So your idea got to be relatable to others. You just can't make up something on yourself that don't have anything to do with teamwork makes the dream work, how we all got here. You ain't gonna make sense to nobody. It ain't gonna gain no traction. See what I'm saying? It's gonna be selfish, Luciferian. Now the Jews, they came up with a good way to make it work a little bit for them, but they working hard every day to try to make y'all believe something without using full force. That's a job. That's a duty. That's an obligation. That's you don't want. They barely want that job. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep that in mind too. They don't be wanting all them duties and obligations and stuff like that, and you don't either. You know what I'm saying? But since they want to play that role, they suffering. They just want you to suffer with them. You ain't got to suffer with them. You know what I'm saying? Now, okay, we're 12 minutes in. So look, check this out, team gang. So in numerology, right? In numerology, it's the number 4 that we're getting ready to experience tomorrow, and you know what, in like 14 hours or something like that. Yeah, like 14 hours. That's when we're going to experience the new moon or the solar eclipse. So for the most part, numerology just comes to the number 4. Now, how it's going to be encapsulated, the energy that we're all going to be affected by is the 4 energy in some way, shape, or form, due to the fact of the calendar and the mapping system that they came up with. It's just going to be that energy of 4 before somebody added the character around it, called it 4, and did all the other subsidiaries and stuff like that. So understand that. But in a nutshell, understanding the character that they put behind it is going to be how you filter through the witchcraft or be able to see what they're doing with it. And you understanding it for yourself is being able how to utilize it in your own life to a certain degree, for you know what you're going to be aware of. You know what I'm saying? Now, numerology is the number 4, aka something presented to our psyche to think about or trap our thoughts inside of a magic square to charge up something new to bring into the world via law, government, or mental construct. So we can see what they having us aware of, and they're going to create a more impactful energy, whether it's a narrative around what's already going on, or however the case may be, to force us to be in some type of number 4 energy, right? Some alien energy, utilizing our logic to understand what's going on in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. But in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, they crafted something to take that energy. So when you create a thought, your 4th dimension alien energy, giving a name and title to something in the surrounding in the 3rd dimension to relate your individuality in this dualistic world, right? Anytime it's focused in a singular direction, whoever crafted where your attention go, they crafted a magic square. It's going to be that narrative, that scandal, whatever's going on in the world at the moment that they're trying to make us pay attention to. That's the craft of the magic square. That's the witchcraft. That's the Masonic craft. And if it could make you pay attention to it, aka as a spirit, as nothing, face it, and then start to develop thoughts and feelings down that street and jump into that thought and feeling like a spaceship and go down that line of reasoning and train of thought as a road or a path, then that's when they got you. You could be up in a rapture. They could get you to vote. They could get you to do a whole bunch of other type of circumstances due to the fact of not being aware of what's actually going on. Now, when spirits caught on, like 1,000 years ago and stuff like that, they figured out other witchcraft ways to add to their craft to make spirits pay attention. Because for the most part, here's the thing. If a spirit don't care about something, you can't make it pay attention. Even if you are, because if you're not a spirit with no charismatic gifts, your character itself won't be just it to allow another spirit to pay attention to you. So this is what the Jews and them lack. So for the most part, they figured out if there's something we can create with our craft that look like it's something in it that other spirits can lose if we warn them about it, then we could get them to pay attention to us with mental force. So this was the creation of mental force and magical thinking and stuff and witchcraft to force y'all to be in a mental cage or something. So now they can create a problem and a solution. So put energy, witchcraft, Jewish witchcraft, in an inanimate object, piece of money or a piece of brick, gold, right? Make it important, aka since they cobalt mines, you have to learn how to build a building or something like that because you was too weak to do that because you had charismatic gifts. You can make other people do things, but you didn't do it for the right cause, so you lack using your hands for the right things, so then they have to teach you to use it, and your good character there is being misvalued, right? Then, once they do that, they put the energy in an inanimate object by making it an importance, by putting things around it of you need that rock or that piece of paper to get the other things that seem important. So once they put the energy into the inanimate object and things of that nature, this gets you lost. And then for the most part, that inanimate object takes your focus. And now wherever your attention go, that's where your energy go. And now they can trap you and make you do what they want you to do based on knowing what you're going to do for that object that they put energy in, that inanimate object. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, this is how they encapsulate everybody and things of that nature with your thoughts and your focus. So they create a narrative, and that narrative is the magic square. And once you start to pay attention to that narrative, you feed that golem, you feed that magic square, you give it fuel. Now, based on everybody already in that world, add more thoughts and feelings, you sold your soul. You didn't technically sell your soul, but you sold the ability you have. Just like a prostitute didn't technically sell her body, but she sold the ability her body had. It ain't like she could take off her titty or something like that and give it to homeboy and tell him that she gonna come pick it up later when he done and stuff like that. No, she sold the ability to have, but she still get to go home with her titty. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, that's like it is with your soul. Your soul create thoughts and feelings. Your individual spirit, which is a soul, solo spirit. Point of reference for the first time, putting the letter A in front of spirit just means soul. Now, when you create a mind, right, a thought form, that's your energy, right? Now, your energy is something that you're supposed to be in control over. When they put in things like fear or stuff like that, fear is just something that you don't want to lose in a timely fashion. That's the ritual that's actually practiced. So when fear is just a practice. So when they added that practice, aka let's create something that we know that they won't, then take it away, create a problem and solution, right? That's them trapping you in their type of cycle in some type of way. And for the most part, it's like a dependent or independent variable scheme, operational variable, where, you know what I'm saying, you thought you was independent. Once you got comfortable, then they took it away from you for you to depend on them. And then in order for you to feel independent again, you have to go towards their linguistic laws and stuff, litigation, whatever they call it, and stuff there, in order for you to feel independent again. And then therefore, this is how they can keep you in a rat race in some way, shape, or form. And then they have went beyond with it and start putting us in some type of spiritual rat race that we have no business playing around with. And when you're playing around with that, you could be doing things that they convinced you that's good for you, that's actually bad for you, just to get wrapped up in a rapture and end up getting blown up in some way, shape, or form. And then they could justify it by them not getting blood on their hands because we already believe it's a self-identifying generational curse. So instead of blaming humans, we're blaming, oh, God is punishing us in some way and we got to fight or something like that. And as long as they got us thinking like that, this sheds the karma on their hands because that water from that condensed from that mind state is not going on their hands as blood. It's other people accepting a generational curse and putting it on their own hands. You know what I'm saying? That's technically what it is. That they figured out like a witchcraft to make y'all create your own demise, even if they sprung it off. You know what I'm saying? Even if they started to push the wheel to accumulate it. So if you don't like realize certain things from that aspect, it's easy to get taken advantage of. It's easy for them to manipulate you. It's easy to feel like you're not really part of this world and they keep hiring the stakes of obligations you have to do to even feel secure because they got us all in survival mode. You see what I'm saying? So look. So basically, this is going to be the number 4 in numerology, aka something presented in our psychology, logical thinking, your masculine. 5th dimension is your emotions, your feminine, your feeling. Bringing those both together creates a character and imagination, your higher self, your mentality. When your thoughts, 4th dimension, alien energy, masculine. When your feelings, emotions, feminine energy, to be able to connect and emotionally react or respond and have emotional intelligence. When these things are confused, you are confused about yourself, your character, your higher self. So your higher self become a lower self, aka you're confused about yourself and lower chakra type energies, and you're trying to figure out yourself through external purposes. So you have to be illuminated instead of being enlightened, having comprehension skills and things of that nature. So that's what it means too. So when you get your fourth and 5th dimensional energy right, your thinking and emotions right, then you can create a 6th dimensional character, aka your higher self, how you see yourself, and you'll be able to have sufficient ways of bringing it into the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, bringing 2 wholenesses, bringing 1 wholeness down to this wholeness. When you're not whole in the mind, you're not going to express no whole characteristics with your 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. Your individuality, 1, how you relate to others, 2, your 2nd dimensional energy, and in the reality we in, our environment, your body, and then your surrounding location, 3rd dimension. Now, the names and titles you give to that supposed to be 4th dimension. The idea of it. The emotions of how you feel about it supposed to be the 5th dimension. And when you bring those things together, that's your character. And that's what others, what you're supposed to create for others to see you as. And when your thoughts and feelings, 4th and 5th, ain't right, your character ain't going to be right. And you always in self-insecurity of how others see that, based upon how you express that confusion through your 1, 2, and 3rd dimensional body. You see what I'm saying? So it's about, having some equilibrium as a spirit, being androgynous to get your masculine and feminine energies in order. Now, in Gematria, this is going to be 2 2s, 2 number 2s. So we know individuality, 2 means duality from an individual perspective. You know what I'm saying? In the spiritual world, 1 + 1 = 3. So one thing can be a concept that we're pulling out down here that we see 2 things and we say that's the number 2. But in the spiritual world, in the essence, that's 1 concept. So when you're a mental pilot, and Gematria is mental addition, subtraction is the art of deduction, mental subtraction, you will start to understand that to a certain degree. So a concept is 1 thing. So 3 is a concept, 4 is a concept. And when you add that kind of concept with another concept, this is how we could jump into other spheres of realities to even develop the space that we can be in to make up things like multiplication and division, right? Which are allegories of anytime you see somebody explain time loops, time gaps. There's no such thing as an actual time loop or a time gap or actually going into the past. No, these are allegories of coming up with the mathematics to make something that can move at a high velocity, that we could create things like an airplane where we could travel through time, where you can go to another city and state faster than the regular time it would take walking. That's all it's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So when we get into multiplication and division and calculus, it's an allegory of when you see scientists making examples and parables with us going through time and us folding the paper like it's a time loop. They're just physically explaining that mathematics that we're in to come up with will come up with multiplication and division, and broken down in a geo what they call that I forget in a geometric way. Yeah, broken down in a geometric way. So it'd be taught like that if you was to take the class in the calculus or something like that, or if you was to go learn trigonometry or something like that, learning that kind of math where you're putting together the powers of something, not necessarily the number itself. So you'll start getting into things like prime numbers and other type of circumstances like that, to understand that things play out in certain fields of reality other than the number itself of us using it as a counting system. See what I'm saying? So when you say something has times 2, the power plus 2, you see what I'm saying? It's not necessarily saying this is something that equals 2 or times 2. It's saying as 2 as a concept itself that's broken down in calculus is added to this number system. You know what I'm saying? So that's help you understand calculus a little better if you get ready to go to college or something like that. So when you hear things like to the 10th power, to the 10th power, that's a system on its own before you add it to the actual math that is considered. Therefore, you'll know what the professor is talking about before you be like, what is he talking about? How do I add the 19th power to 9 times 2? That's not the point. The 19th power or the second power, whatever they start teaching you, that's a system on its own. You will add to the math. Then you will start to understand what they're talking about. And all it's going to do is teach you how to start putting pipes together. Like the math of making coils, the math of making pipes, the math of, you know what I'm saying, making slopes, like shit like that. Like shit that's curved but is in a square reality. That's all it's teaching you how to do, to make round shit in a square reality where everything is boxy. See what I'm saying? Man, that's all. I make things simple, so when you listening, you ain't got to go through a whole bunch of other mental fart clouds before you can have the right comprehension skills or something. But look, in Gematria, is two number 2s, right? So 2 represents duality, and if 2 is next to another 2, these are both just one objects as a concept. So this leads into indecisiveness, right? So this confusion with our masculine natures, aka 2 thoughts, or like a Cain and Abel type of concept, like the Jews that they was practicing in the Bible. This is something like they doing now, right? And it's confusing. It creates confusion with our masculine natures, aka 2 thoughts, 2 masculine thoughts without the emotion without the emotion behind it. So you're forced to just react fast to a thought that already got impacted with a whole bunch of emotion of the wizards. And then you got that react fast with your thought to it, and then that makes you indecisive on. So it plays out as a choice has to be made about something. And we can see this being played out based upon the Palestinian war and Israel and Hamas, whatever like that, where they're going to create more narratives around the new moon, solar eclipse, with this energy. Be aware. But the space is going to put you in is what I'm explaining right now. Us feeling like we should vote for this president or something like that because this president has made a choice to help to help Israel against the Palestinian or whatever like that, due to the fact of the choice that needs to be made, that something you weren't even at the round table to even care about in the first place, but somehow they needed to care about voting systems again. So this is one of the witchcrafts that they're going to do. Now in tarot card, right? This is going to add the cherry on the cake. A lot of y'all already know what tarot card it is. It's the Emperor. So with the Emperor, right, there will be some made up chaos that we already seeing. But now be aware of the narratives behind it. You're going to get a whole bunch of stuff online right now, especially when it comes to thumbnails and stuff, that if you was to create a YouTube page and do that same thing, you would get your page deleted or whatever like that. So you already know this is something government sanctioned, right? You already know that, right? So in a nutshell, they're going to go harder on that right now. Where they might not go so hard now because it's people like me on Earth speaking. So they might be like, oh yeah, we don't want to necessarily, pardon me, we don't want to necessarily look stupid. But in a nutshell, they're still going to try it because there's still more percentage of people in the world that's flunked out than people who got comprehension skills. But it's the Emperor card. So there will be some made up chaos. So a puppet can be put in place to convince us there will be some form of order or control if we was to fight or vote or pick a side or choose, like in the Gematria aspect of it, if it's 2 2s, and based upon us being in the number 4 energy from the numerology aspect, the art of deduction, we know that we're going to be forced to make a decision based upon being lost in something that's in our mind, aka something they put in our mind, something we ain't even got to pay attention to, but it's being forced down our throat. It's on everybody's algorithm. So for the most part, here's the thing. Now, once they use this energy to put someone in place to have the game sold up, mission and witchcraft will be accomplished if they can get us to believe whatever that they got going on, to make us be like, yeah, this president, or yeah, this person, or yeah, this circumstance, or yeah, these people is what we need to back and support, and get up and pick up an M16 ourselves, which ultimately that's what it leads to, just really us harming ourselves. No one is actually dying. Don't even believe none of that. Don't believe none of that. They're going to start getting more creative, where they got body cams. You know, a police that actually had to do something that was serious, who even had a body cam, footage wouldn't be released. How was they getting all catastrophic and trying to make us believe that's radicals? Don't get lost in none of that retardation. Those are prompt guns. So you might see a pop, but ain't no actual bullet coming out of it. They plan out scenes and stuff like that. The people who in on it know it. The people that y'all see be scared and stuff, these are people that's getting recorded of the military coming to remove them before the explosions, and making it sound like there's a, if you witty enough, you'll know how to get on the right websites to search beyond YouTube. Every now and then, before YouTube demonetize it and filter it through English and stuff, you might catch it if you read the comments right. But usually you have to get on something other than Google, right? What you will realize is this. A lot of these videos that they're playing from these Palestinians and Israel stuff, right? They're saying things that you Americans don't understand. It's being subtitled or being spoken from the news narrative. If you go to the comments, people who actually speak that language and speak English would tell you these people are not in fear from the military of when the news people are speaking English to us or Latin, and they telling us that these people is in danger from these radicals. The people in the comment section will be like, these people ain't saying they're in danger from the people that's being broadcasted around them, that's forcing them on these trucks or putting masks over these faces. They're having a conversation like they're trying to get them out of there for something. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we're getting played against us, even if you lack certain language knowing. You know what I'm saying? They, based on the algorithm and them knowing you reprobates, they already expected you not to even be multi-language or be into things like this. To be aware of that. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It got to be people like me in that country to even be speaking in the comments. Same way how they start doing the same stuff floating in the air. Remember COVID, Raccoon City, Resident Evil, right? And then they had the crisis happening first in the little countries that they ain't so sufficient and stuff, like Berlin and stuff, right? But it's a beautiful city. It's just anytime the government is more responsible for building, other than the citizens being the slaves, they treat y'all disposable every now and then. To be an example, anytime the civilized countries like America, Japan, and stuff like that start to smell their butt too much, they use like people where the Masons doing all the building and stuff and running the government and stuff. All Canada, y'all gonna end up being like that if y'all don't get with the program. They're gonna start using y'all as an example for people like Americans in Japan. Anytime we start smelling our butt too much or talking like people like me and we ain't building a world. Saying they're gonna use y'all, start using y'all as disposable. Y'all better chill out and start peeping game or come to America and move here. So let's get y'all some some PYT. No, what they call that? What Megan Thee Stallion call it? Yeah, and marry one of our females over here. That's your only way. That's your best bet. Or y'all will be next. Mark my words. Y'all damn near Americans. They damn near trying to make y'all like they did California and Mexico. So they damn near about to make y'all Americans if y'all ain't already, because y'all so close. But the way how the government run more of y'all than y'all building, all the way down to y'all having free health care. They ain't got no problem with using y'all as a example either, disposable energy either, for people like Americans and Japan and stuff like that in China. Anytime we slow down, you know what I'm saying, on cultures and stuff. Mark my words. Government don't care about the small people. They don't care about the regular people. Trust me. I done seen it all. I done ran worlds before and didn't do that. And they trying to prove to me in this world right now how I was supposed to always do it like that, or try to prove me wrong or something like that. Like, I don't like that either. I don't like that. I'm going to drop a dime on that. Well, look. So, for the most part, the tarot card is the Emperor. So there will be some made up chaos that we breaking down. So the puppet, so they can place a puppet there that could convince us that that's the person going to play out the Emperor card, aka bring some form of order, some form of regulation, some form of construct. You know what I'm saying? If you was to get the tarot card just for your own life, and you was to get the Emperor card, this is something that it means you need to do. If you're listening to a tarot card reader that haven't had a lot of experiences themselves in real life, they may speak about it like it's another zodiac sign in your life being an emperor and things, and this is what you need to look out for. Somebody is trying to... That's wrong. Anytime it's a reading for you, it's the energy you in. So when you get the Emperor card, it's something you need to take charge on. You're letting your life get out of order. It's something you need to regulate. And that's how the wise person's supposed to teach you, the guide. Without that mean that you're doing it for God. You're not doing divination. Divination is telling you to look out next week because someone is a narc because they in Emperor energy, and you clicked on the video that's about you. You get it? That's supposed to be the first common sense right there. How can the reading be about someone else if it's another zodiac sign if I clicked on my reading? So you're breaking down what you think I'm going through. That's kind of divination. The only way that can work is if you're breaking down an energy a person is in. So in that aspect, whatever that they're going through, then you break that down, because a person will understand it's something that they manifested. So if I pulled you out the Seven of Swords or the Emperor card, this is something you need to regulate. Then I break down possibilities of people in your life. And I guarantee I will be more right, more concise than the average tarot card reader, because I'm coming at it from a more perspective, and you're not, and I take you out of the aspect, being the listener, seeing it through a filter or a bias or what you want to hear. I'll take you out of that real quick. You could be wrong at what you into, so you might listen to something wrong. You get the spiritual guide always got to be the spiritual adult too. You gotta be a spiritual adult too. That's what it means when you're the spiritual guide. The listener may not know everything of even how to interpret what you're saying. So you got to be wise enough. Once you know better, you do better, or you're going to get blood on your hands in your own life. That ain't even got nothing to do with who you talking to. Other stuff going on. And your animals start running into walls by themselves and stuff like that. And now you got to call the fire department to get your cat out the tree or something like that. Some weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? The neighborhood start doing weird things. The street lights start flickering at night. Then the street dark. Yeah. You need to put the mental spirituality card down. Put the astrology down. Put that gem down. You know what I'm saying? Put that tarot card down for a couple of days. Real stuff. Real stuff. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, ultimately, this is what the government is trying to do. They're trying to exercise their magical thinking to rule y'all into new society ways of life. They're constructing behind closed doors. So things to do. So keep that in mind. And so now we're about to get into energies of things to do, so you don't get distracted into these things, or even get distracted in your own life, due to the fact of there's going to be like a minor stellium in your house that you got Libra in. There's going to be the moon, there's going to be Mercury, and there's going to be the sun. So all your actions and what you and how you view things, the sun, all your way of thinking, communicating, sharing ideas, or being in your own mind chatter, Mercury, and all your emotional space and how you react or respond to things, and will put you in fight or flight mode, or how you develop comfortability, the moon. It's all going to be centered focused on the house you got Libra in. Even if your natural sun, moon, and Mercury isn't there, you're going to be using your own alignment to do the as above alignment. So if it's at some miscellaneous places like squaring and stuff like that, you got extra job to do. But at the same time, this is what's going to be your main focus. Now, when it comes into that being your main focus, it could distract you and make you worry, and you might not have no leeway, or you might not know how to find a comfort zone, or you might not know what energy to participate in that could develop ideas and actions that can accumulate as forms of helping you feel more sufficient and not even feel like you're misplaced based upon the stellium. Because anytime there's a collection of energy in one area, it builds frustration. You could be all in a cafeteria at school, and if we two smothered up with each other, we're gonna start being frustrated a little bit. It built temperament and frustration when it's too much of the different energies in one area. So this is what you're gonna have to so what I'm gonna break down is utilizing the opposite house. Ooh, that feel good. Which is where Chiron and the North Node is at. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, jumping in that area will balance out the distractions that Libra house could possibly take you through with all these events that's going on at this current moment. So keep that in mind too. And it's in retrograde. So, you know, with Chiron and North Node being in retrograde, it may have something to do with the past, something you have to go back to, which is a creative gift, a talent, a circumstance, a position, a living condition, a morality that you have let go of. And now you have to go back to it because it was your only sense of make you feel inspired to do whatever you was doing. It could be a person, you know, it could be a family member, friend, associate, coworker, but a lot of times it goes to mental forms and stuff like that. Now, so when it comes to, let's say you got Libra in the first house, you could get distracted in your personal life when it comes to a lot of these things that's going on in the world, right? So when you start to pay attention to your seventh house, your relationships and how you relate to others, make sure that you're dealing with a mistake that have happened, right? A mistake that you have done, and built more courage with gaining comfortability with uncomfortability, so you can learn your capabilities and incapabilities, aka so you can start to get out of that spiritual space that you have outgrown. So once you do those things, you got to filter that through. It may have something to do with your passions, motivations, desires, or your sexual energy. That just means manifesting, or it can be a person, no matter, or your sexuality, or just your passions, motivations, and your desires, or the stuff that make you angry and aggressive when you don't get it in a timely fashion. These are the areas of life you have to deal with a mistake in when it comes to your relationships that has something to do with passion, or something you was trying to bring creatively new, and something that you need to learn how to jump in that comfortability energy, that uncomfortable energy, so you can build comfortability there. Learn how to gain comfortability and uncomfortability so you can learn your capabilities and incapabilities when it comes to your relationships right now, how you relate to others, or your networking, your seventh house energy. And that's going to support your first house, your personal space, having Libra here. Now, let's say if you got Libra in the second house, right? Now, for you not to get too distracted, because the world and things going on in your life could get you distracted with all your actions, the way you think, and how you react or respond to things, purely based on your values. Your and the first house, it can have you distracted on isolating yourself. Second house, it can have you distracted on your values, your money, or your self-esteem. So you'll have a debilitated way of obtaining your self-esteem during this particular time. So you have to be careful of that too. So you're gonna have to pay attention to a mistake made that dealt with your passions and motivations and desires, and something you need to gain comfortability in that was uncomfortable when it comes into your 8th house. Deep desires, passions, motivations, something you need to transform, something you need to take power and control over, and something you need to see the light of day or bring to the surface because it's becoming manipulating, whether it's taking your own time away or is you using others that in ways that you don't necessarily need to use them based upon shared values. So that's the area that you probably need to do that balance out your 2nd house and actually support the 2nd house in the way that it necessarily needs to. Now let's say you got Libra in the 3rd house. Libra in the 3rd house. Now for you not to get distracted, because a lot of these things could distract you within your environment, your surroundings, your friends, what you're familiar with, things that you do, information, even things that you could possibly do if it's familiar enough online and stuff like that. Now here's the thing, because it's dealing with communication too. So you not to get distracted in that and stuff like that, you might need to pay attention to your 9th house, right? And your passions. There may be something you need to deal with, a mistake when it comes to your passions, motivations, and your desires, and something you need to learn how to gain more comfortability in that's uncomfortable when it comes to 9th house type things. Traveling, internally, externally, morality, spiritual systems, and things of that nature. Your education, your knowledge, your ability to teach, or your ability to learn and be a student in some way, shape, or form. Or this how you conduct your experiences and observe them, and to develop a moral systems in general, right? This is the energy that you probably need to look in and see where have you did a mistake, and get over that, and create that passion around that and gain comfortability where you're uncomfortable at in that area in some way, shape, or form. No, yes, all right. Ooh, this I think that. Oh, I got Libra 3rd house. Yeah, I already been doing this. Already doing this. I'll be ahead of the game. Okay, now Libra 4th house. If you got Libra in the 4th house, right? This is for you not to get distracted, because a lot of things going on could affect your home, family, domestic issues. It could affect your domestic issues, family, emotional stability, and your ability to obtain privacy and stuff like that. And gain emotional security. So you might got to pay attention to the 10th house, and your 10th house start to deal with a mistake that you may have made when it comes to your passions, motivations, and your desires, and also learn how to get comfortable with some type of uncomfortable scenario there, so you can learn your capabilities and incapabilities with that passion, motivation, and desire you filter it through in some way, shape, or form when it comes to your status, what you're known for, how you're seen, and what ultimately can become your career, your popularity level, or if the lower octave of it, gossip. And then for the most part, as long as you transmute those energies, it'll help blend in and balance out between the 4th house. Now, let's say you got Libra in the 5th house. Now, I ain't even leave the camera. That was an instant oil stick. You know what I'm saying? Now, look, Libra in the 5th house. Now, for you not to get distracted, because during this time, you probably could get heavily distracted, and it could put blemishes on what you're paying attention to, and things that mess up making you feel youthful, and things that mess up your creative space and stuff like that. So you have to entertain bullcrap during this particular time. A lot of stuff in the world right now may make you have to entertain bullcrap, aka Libra in the 5th house, stuff that's stellium. So, you might have to pay attention to the 11th house, and there may be a passion, desire, or something like that you made mistakes in when it comes to dealing with associations and associates, and then on top of that, you have to learn how to gain more comfortability with being uncomfortable, aka with trying new things, so you can learn your new capabilities and learn your new incapabilities and throw them away, so you don't have to use them anymore when it comes to dealing with your associations, how you're seen in the public persona, or public gains, or how you're seen amongst others that you're not around 24/7 and things of that nature, but you're familiar with them. And certain aspects, there's something that you have to change as a mistake that you may have made when you was dealing with your passion that you was associated with when it came to people, and learn how to start to do new things right now and get comfortable with that and stuff, regardless of your traditional way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's say if you got Libra in the 6th house. Libra in the 6th house, a lot of things that's going on right now in the world, especially when it comes to your regular life, probably can affect your work, health, routine, scheduling, your duties and tasks, your job itself. So you might need to jump into the 12th house and start to deal with a mistake that you have made when you was going for your passions, motivations, and your desires and things of that nature, dealing with 12th house type things. So and you have to learn your capabilities and incapabilities. Start to express these delusions and stuff like that to see if it's a delusion or not. It may not even be necessarily a delusion. So for the most part, you need to jump into that area, and you may come up on something that can support something you already got going on in the 6th house, or it can become something you put in the 6th house, and some of your dreams can become a reality, or something that you can materialize or be consistent on, or it become one of your responsibilities and things of that nature. So you're responsible for this creative gift because you're materializing off of it. So it can play out like that also. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's say if you got Libra in the 7th house, right? So with Libra being in the 7th house, then you could be distracted. Like, a lot of things going on right now can distract your relationship life, how you relate. It might be making you relate in a more with a dry heart right now, or your networking may be getting debilitated in some way, shape, or form, and you might be experiencing tower moments when it comes to your ability to network. Thank you so much for the cash app, Crystal. I appreciate that for the bomb art. You might be getting, you know what I'm saying? You might be experiencing tower moments and stuff like that when it comes to your ability to network or your relationships. So you might need to jump into your 1st house, right? You may have been giving too much of yourself to others. So it's the opposite around than a person who got Libra in the 1st house than a person who got Libra in the 7th house. You might need to jump in the 1st house and see the mistakes you made when it comes to going for your passions and motivations. Your passions and motivations might not have been your own personal way of doing things as much. You might have did your personal passions, blending it in with 7th house energy too much, and allowed yourself to end up taking the short end of the stick, or getting your personal space smothered, or not having the actual relationships that you necessarily need because you've been putting your foot in your mouth or selling yourself short. So that might be a passionate mistake, Chiron, that you might be realizing that you need to jump into your 1st house right now and do that. And that'll put you in a better position. And if it's uncomfortable, learn how to gain comfortability in that, because it's going to build spiritual growth for you to outgrow something that we're all outgrowing right now, going through a birth phase. And when you do that and go through these events, there's going to be an outcome and ability that you manifest to be able to materialize with your body, to be able to put you in a better situation that actually supports your 7th house, even if it means putting yourself into a situation where you end up developing a better relationship, either with the same person or someone else. Now, let's say if you got Libra in the 8th house. Libra in the 8th house is, now you may, a lot of these things that's going on right now may create a lot of blockages or inabilities for you when it comes to expressing your deep desires, passions. It may put you into more manipulating spaces to the point that you have to, in some way. Well, I need some sour. That you have to, in the way. Oh, this is the empty one. Damn. There we go. All right, there we go. Calm down. See, when I do more talking than hitting this, it start messing with me. My hernia. All right, there we go. It's going down. Whew. All right, there we go. All right, whew, I can breathe again. Whew. Okay. Because it mess up your breathing when it goes in your thorax and stuff. But, yeah, so you might got to jump into the 2nd house. It might be something that you made a mistake when it comes to your going for your passions and motivations and desires that you wasn't valuing. You wasn't planting enough seeds in. Whether a person, place, or thing, that your self-esteem would have been sufficient now. So look, you got to look in those areas in your 2nd house. If you got Libra in the 8th house, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that could distract you. There's things going on right now that you probably can't even have a good, healthy sexual nature right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you married. There's probably things going on in the world that y'all mind is totally distracted from. Y'all can't even have sex or something like that. So for the most part, you might got to get into the 2nd house and start to look at what you may have passionately, what you may have made a mistake in when it comes to dealing with your passions, motivations, and desires, and learn how to gain comfortability with uncomfortability when it comes to 2nd house type stuff, where you're planting seeds at to build your self-esteem. What do you actually value and things like that? Because it's the Taurus house. So what do you actually value? And 8th house things can make you value the wrong things right now based upon what the shadow government got for us to be distracted in. And all that stellium is going to make you focus on the things that they made in the world from the transits that's playing out in your 8th house. You see what I'm saying? Now, let's say if you got Libra in the 9th house. Now, if you got Libra in the 9th house, right? This puts you in a situation where, like, the world we're going through right now can debilitate that area. It can enable your ability to travel or travel internally, make you think far out. You may have a limited, small world way of thinking right now based upon limited access, based on how the government got us in certain things or your living condition, aka what you are experiencing at the moment. That's 9th house too, just experiences in general. And for the most part, you may be getting stifled when it comes to your moral systems. You're starting to see these things. It's not apparent. You might believe a certain religion that you see being used for negative practices right now because of war and stuff. So a lot of these things is making you have a miscomplacent moral system and stuff like that when it comes into a distraction and the sun, moon, and Mercury being there. So you might need to jump into the 3rd house. You might need a release system, a friend group, or you might need to take care of some type of passion. Thank you so much for the donation, best test friend. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. There might be something that you need to look at that you made a mistake when it came to going for your passions, motivations, and your desires and sexual energies, or your ability to gain comfortability in uncomfortable situations without running from them, aka sweeping things up under the rug or mopping spoiled milk up under the refrigerator with a dry mop without no esoteric Mr. Clean defected. That you can't do that. And there's an area that you probably need to jump in in the 3rd house when it comes to that. Anytime you went for your passions, motivations, and desires, you might need to look at where you made a mistake at and learn where to gain comfortability at to outgrow something when it comes to dealing with your friends, your surroundings, your environment, where you at the moment, your knowledge, your information that you have that you're familiar with. There may be a mistake of how you use one of these things or use a friend or something like that when you was going for your passions, motivations, and your desires, if it has something to do with that. So there may be something you may have to do in that area too, so you're not experiencing tower moments and stuff like that. Now, let's say you got Libra in the 10th house. If you got Libra in the 10th house, yeah, let me think about myself for a little bit. I think about myself sometimes. Breathe, Uriel. I'm lucky this ain't the ratchet chair. Alright. You know what I'm saying? Now, when we talk about Libra in the 10th house, now you might be heavily distracted, especially if you run some type of business or something like that. The things that the shadow and don't live nowhere close to Palestinian or something like that. You witnessing live of the sun transit. They got us fighting between the solstice, aka between the tropics and Capricorn, and the equinox, aka between the spring and summer, witchcraft, July energy. So yeah, you got to be extra careful with Libra right now, being in the having that in the 10th house. Now, but look, peep game. All these things in the world, especially your personal life, can be distracting you right now when it comes to your status, which you want to be known for. You might can't even, especially if you like trying to broadcast online, you might can't even get popping the way you want to get popping for your subject matter due to all this fart cloud stuff they got blowing out everybody's algorithm. Literally, all puns intended, blowing up everybody's algorithm and stuff. All puns intended. So you probably even look at that stuff like that, like, oh, this ain't the right time to promote this, or dang, I can't even, just because of stuff like that. Like, this is like literally what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, all of these things that's going on can distract you and in the 10th house type things, right? So for the most part, you might need to jump into the 4th house. You know what I'm saying? Get more private right now. There may be a mistake you have made when you was going for your passions, motivations, and desires. When it came to dealing with home, family, domestic issues, obtaining privacy, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. There was a mistake happened. Maybe animosity built. Maybe like something that was negatively expressed towards the family member or towards you that didn't necessarily meant anything. And it might need to be some type of reconciliation or something like that. So these are energies that if you might need to jump into. These are energies you might need to jump into during this particular time, when it comes to your passions, motivations, and your desires. And look at that like that's the right path if it got any form of uncomfortability with it. Because this is what humans like to run from a lot of times. That's actually how you built up any esoteric energy and that excitement, which built adrenaline. So you practice the first spiritual witchcraft, making a mental form actually fluid, and then that spark makes that's how people get attention. That's how anyone get attention when you got that adrenaline running in you, excited off with your what you brought from the mental world. Once it been there and become adrenaline, you spark that senses for other spirits to tingle because you got something worth paying attention to now. And that's the only way. Like I think humans be trying to find easy ways to do things so much, or sometimes it's just based on lack of knowledge. When men and women lack knowledge, you perish. The spirit perish in lower chakra ways of doing things. That's what it means. You're going in the death realm. You're going in where Scar and the Happy Hyenas from Lion King is at. And so you being manipulated behind closed doors, but when you come back on Simba's rock, you just expressing something else to get what you want, but it ain't got nothing to do with what's going on behind closed doors, which is traumas and giggling and gossip. You see what I'm saying? So your activity or your social awareness, social creaturely energy go towards distractions. So, but when it's time for people to look at the productive areas, your manly activity, your woman social creatureness is supposed to go, there's nothing there. Then when we ask you, it's an excuse. You might say, oh, I was busy or I'm doing something. No, the activity gonna be somewhere if you're a man. No, the social creatureness gonna be somewhere if you're a woman. It just ain't nowhere productive, and you know it's demonic, so you make an excuse to cover up, and it sounds like I'm busy. No, you're not busy. Just being demonic, distracted from someone. So that's how that play out too. So when you got this in the energy of the 10th house, whole lot of gossip and things like that can be played out in this type of attribute. So for the most part, there's some mistake or something like that privately with close friends and whatever the circumstance may be that represent the 4th house that you need to gain comfortability with anytime you develop your passions, motivations, and desires there. And that should help you blend in your status a lot better. All the way to the point that you won't even have no family members hating on you because you're in a certain position in your life as far as your status. Now, when it comes into having Libra in the 11th house. Libra in the 11th house, you're going to be in a situation where a lot of distractions, you may get distracted by who you associated with. Family, friends, co-workers, any type of association. Everything they want to talk about is the news. They'll never want to talk about things that's going on in your 5th house area, right? And a lot of times, anytime you overly or overtly express your 5th house area, you may look like you're attention seeking and doing things that don't matter right now. So it can be a sticky time for a person with this alignment also. But for the most part, if you do have Libra, let me tell you, I got to take care of myself, bro. I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta breathe. When you do got Libra in 11th house, the 5th, now you're gonna be distracted by what you are associated with. You might even work somewhere that take your distraction so far away from what you normally feel comfortable with that the job ain't even did that before. For some reason, this week is doing it. You might even go to work, and the first thing on the TV screen that the manager want everybody to put their input on and stuff like that for a few seconds might be the news and the guys are conversation stuff like so. Just you going to these public places like your job and stuff, you ain't gonna be able to run away from a form of distraction. So you're gonna be able to see what I'm talking about as the witchcraft played out as a result through the lens of robots and agents and stuff like that. That's just normal people in your life, and some of them share the same blood you got. So give them grace. Just you be like, damn, Uriel just told me I'm just how I'm about to be distracted in my 11th house. Now, for the most part, because we over exaggerate too. People who ain't got nothing going on, they make up over exaggerations of things in their mind to have something going on or what could be possible. So it's always la la land. So when it comes to actual witchcraft or actual what we supposed to be learning, they miss the whole point, or they think it's always supposed to be so much more. No, it's the simple stuff. It's the simple stuff. That's the witchcraft. It stopped there. Don't make your mind think, oh, the witchcraft is the government secretly calling me and I'm gang stalking. Now you're going too far with it. No, the witchcraft is just as simple as you going to work, and that's all they want to talk about at work. You're experiencing the witchcraft. Okay? It's just simple as that. Let's not over exaggerate spirituality and stuff like that, or you missing the point. And this what allows them to look at you as low hanging fruit and them to be more spiritual than you and to be in the seat like the Pope. And I'm tired of seeing stuff like that. It's time for us to get real with this spiritual stuff. Now, keyword, get real with this spiritual stuff. Okay? Now, so you're going to have to pay attention to the fifth house. There's some mistake you're making in the fifth house when it came to your passions, motivations, and your desires when you were expressing it through the lens of the fifth house, aka stuff you was paying attention to. So you may have been too attention seeking the way you was passionately expressing your character. Fifth house, Aries there, and Chiron being there. That might have been a mistake. You may have to go there, figure out that mistake when you was going for your passions, learn how to not be so aggressive, calculate that, learn how to gain comfortability and uncomfortability, aka that new energy you get ready to put yourself in that you ain't familiar with acting out. And then therefore, boom, that accumulation will manifest an event and give you ideas as a manifestation, give you the ability to materialize, and then therefore that energy itself and that experience, you will have the necessary spaceship that will support the 11th house, you around better associations, or you know how to deal with your associations and associates in a much more sufficient manner. Even if you got to cuss a few people out and show your butt, set that stage, all puns intended, so you can express yourself so they can pay attention what a person needs to pay attention to that you associate with, blending in your 5th house with the 11th house. And you probably was being too introverted. Now, when it comes into 12th house, if you got Libra in the 12th house, this is going to put you into a situation where you may be overly distracted, where you're not even being able to draw when you want to, do your creative gifts, sing, rap, act, actress. Everything in the world could distract you from these things you got faith and belief in. You probably can't even go to church on Sunday because of something that's going on right now. It could be your personal life. Some stupid in the world happening right now, all the way down to your job, will distract you and you can't go to church on Sunday. It go down that deep with the 12th house. You know what I'm saying? So peep game. Don't forget I told you that's going to be how you experience the witchcraft. Or something's going to create energy around you and stuff like that, where it's going to be hard for you to really focus on your creative gifts and put you in some type of weird fart cloud delusion. And therefore, it ain't going to be nothing but the Hamahaka war or whatever like that. But the way it's going to affect you with witchcraft is take you away from your creative gifts or the stuff you have faith and belief in. You might even start second questioning the things you do got faith and belief in, even if it's not just religion, certain spiritual systems. Like you might have been a Muslim right now in that imam type stuff, and this probably upsets you based on the war that's going on, that you can't make sense out of it with the religion. Like you thinking like, damn, why the people who run the world with this religion is doing this, and this the religion I believe in, but they're making this religion look bad. Dang, am I in the right religion? Like you might even look at people who got Libra in the 9th house could kind of look at it like this too, but it's going to be even more when you add delusions around it, and then they're helping you with your flunked out emotions, aka having this in the 12th house right now. So this could really affect you right now and get you distracted from all of your creative goals and gifts and stuff like that. So don't do that. So you may have to jump into your 6th house, right? There's some mistake you have made when it comes to your passions, motivations, and your desires that you got to uphold, and you're not passionate enough about some type of routine, pattern, something to be consistent on. Something you were supposed to make a responsibility and you didn't. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't passionate enough about it. Yeah, you got to go do it. You got to go back and do it. Retrograde, Chiron, it's a mistake. Retrograde, got to go back. And it's Aries, something dealing with your passions, motivations, and something to bring new here. Spark a new feeling, a new way of seeing things. Seeing, fire, light, feeling, fire's heat. You feel. So it's dealing with it's a filler sign. So there's something you have to go back to in the 6th house, routines and patterns you wasn't expressing enough passion about, and something like that. And even all the way down to consistency, a relationship with your partner that you're responsible for, you probably wasn't even being sexual enough. You know what I'm saying? It's deep like that. And then you have to learn how to gain comfortability with that uncomfortable circumstance that you know you got to jump in, that I'm breaking down. And therefore, all these new events is going to accumulate supporting systems for your 12th house. What's that? And that's it. So that's the energies to look out for this new shift that we're going through, to add on to this new birth stage that we're all going through as a phase, that everybody going to feel this energy of like small mental pains, and if you dive into it long enough, physical pains. And if things is going on in your life to make you add more thoughts to it, if you might get a debilitated organ during this particular time, and might have to lose a foot because you was in a shooting, like shout out to Fulio or whatever like that. You don't want to lose no kidneys at no time. You don't need no heart transplants or whatever like that. Y'all don't need no new lungs or whatever. Get out of these mental states as soon as possible then, because it's going to come fast. Manifestations is real fast. And what do I teach y'all? Mind been dead, become an organ. Now, one of these minds is one of your desires. You might be meeting a tire moment that you ain't letting go. You opening your throat chakra and you're not getting no reciprocation. You opening your heart chakra, you're not getting no reciprocation. You opening all these chakras, not getting no reciprocation, but you caring too much about that, right? So now you using these chakras and building all these negative energies that you're not willing to let go. It been in on your organ as adrenaline. And if you do that for like 3 months or whatever like that, okay, get ready for having to go to the hospital and have to lose a leg or something like that. Or lose an organ, whatever chakra you was in, that's the organ you're going to lose. And the mind is a terrible thing to waste. So I don't want none of y'all to lose y'all brain, because that's like you losing your life. Anybody who lose their mind, they lose their whole life, because the brain, so pay attention to which one you lost in, and know which ones you need to let go. Get into this new naked space that we all in, that we all going to feel uncomfortable, and we need some clothes, aka new thoughts and feelings. But get comfortable with that uncomfortability so you can get all those new thoughts and feelings before you run back into an old hut and because it's comfort zones. Oh, I like this thought and feeling. And that manifests as that situation you in that you outgrown in the solid world. You outgrown that spiritually. Get fully in that uncomfortable. I'm breaking it down as clear as I can. Get fully in that new uncomfortable spot so you can develop all those new thoughts and feelings. Even the uncomfortable thoughts and feelings is new. Look at it like that too. And now you're going to have, those are new abilities that you're going to be able to see that it's new abilities once you start to interact with the regular world and get into the distractions again. You're going to get back into the distractions with more clairvoyance, more abilities, more know-hows, more solutions, which ultimately is you manifesting more productivity in your life, period. Then you could be in a position to teach another that. You know what I'm saying? All the way down to your smack monkey mother. Real stuff. So that's how to look out for these Libra energies right now with this solar eclipse, new moon energies and stuff like that. Solar eclipse astronomy, new moon astrology. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, it just means the sun and moon in the same sign. But from God perspective, equilibrium, God don't give a F about none of them concepts. That's just what man came up with, just to understand that we're just in an atmosphere and we're on a body of water rotating to the left, and we're facing the event to the east where we clash with that other atmosphere. So anytime we're facing it, men in society just came up with words like conjunction and what they was observing that sprung off from that event, and they think that these things is bringing the stars or the sun or constellations ain't bringing the seasons. You know what I'm saying? The seasons is created based upon temperament. Temperament is created based upon friction and fusion and pressure. So that's what creates temperament and temperature. And then the things we see that get created from it, from macro and micro, is just the offsprings. That's the sun and the moon and you and me and the trees and bushes. That come after the fact. So when we're experiencing a lunar eclipse, you know what I'm saying? We're just experiencing facing that event. So we can't see the light itself until we start to face away from it and we get out of that shadow period. That's it. We're just experiencing a sun shadow period. That's it. Can't no astrologer teach you that but an angel, Archangel Uriel. You can't go to no college or go to no professional astrologer and they can give it to you that cut, dry, clear. They have to make a justification about what they already believe in, about it being true. Ain't no actual planets in the sky. Ain't no actual constellations in the sky. You have to be the type of astrologer like me to know that. The type of individual who can create that, who can create astrology. The people who created astrology is in the space I'm in. learning these things for yourself and coming up with a system. People who come after the fact take a system and learn it the best way they can. So there's always going to be truth in a system, but if you don't know the space a person was in to create the system, you're not going to get the full suggest of things. So later on down the line, there could be many things that people use things for the sake of them, that could be against people who's using it for the small percentage level of truth in it, that got baggage on it now based upon it being used for other purposes that help others in rulership. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta keep that in mind. They go deep. But you hear any astronomer, astrologer, I guarantee they explain the moon like it's something, like it's an object, and they explain the planets like they actually real. I guarantee. But by me being an Aries, I'm cut, dry, and concise. No. And the way I explain it, there ain't no justification around it either. That could be a maybe so, ha. No. Once you go outside and look for things for yourself, you understand I stand corrected. And I don't care about no reprobate humans either. About, oh, there's ego in the spiritual community. The hell with a human's opinion. Can't no human give me no opinion about spirits. I've been here longer than everybody and everything. And this is how Galileo and them did it. I stand corrected. I'm the highest astrologer, astronomer, metaphysic, period. Or you will hear this come out the mouth of other people. Period. Cut, dry, concise. I need my goddamn it, what they call that? When you a person Nobel Peace Prize. I'm that type of astronomer, astrologer, where I deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. Now I ain't just flunked out here and lost in my feelings. I understand the government is making characters out of these things. It ain't the planets bringing these things, or I will have to be breaking down, like telling y'all to get ready for something, as if the only reason you're getting ready for it is because we're experiencing a certain alignment. The alignment don't mean shit. That's like we rolling dice. It's what we do with the alignment. I would never be an astrologer to explain something as if we need to be aware of something because a certain transit is coming. It's what the government do with the energy. If it wasn't no government, it'd be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Who gives a fuck if it ain't no holiday for you to react to? It's what the government create out of the things, like the holidays. It ain't the planets themselves. Who gives a fuck about Mars? Who gives a fuck about Venus? That ain't shit. It's what the government doing by understanding nature during these periods of time. Once man get a hold of that, that's what we need to be aware of. Not us being aware of something because Mars is in a certain alignment now. No. It's what the government getting ready to do with Mars energy. If it was no people, Mars would be what it is anyway. What we gonna say? The trees is getting ready to go to war because Mars coming? No, that don't make sense. Understand, anything that's happening is because of man, not no damn planets. When you understand nature and the energies, that's one thing. When you do something with it, when you cut down a tree and make a house, when you take an energy in the sky, a position is spring, and that different season, it ain't the same as this season. When you take that and create a character around it, that's when it becomes something. It itself don't mean shit. See what I'm saying? It always gonna be spring until a man say this spring and this is the beginning and we gonna have Easter here. That's when it means something. If we just running around cavemen or something like that, it don't matter when it's gonna be spring. That don't mean we gonna get up and go to war. So any astrologer explaining cause Mars is here, this, that, and the third, it's making humanity go into war. That's Christianity. That's like God belief. These planets, it ain't even no actual planets up there to even look at them like lords. That's Masonic. I got a fist. That's all Masonic. Yeah. Trash bag ain't shit unless you put some trash in it. You know what I'm saying? Trash bag ain't shit unless you put some trash in it. A bottle ain't shit unless you put some juice in it. Astrology ain't shit unless somebody using it. So don't let nobody make you believe that the transits in the sky themselves is the reason why humanity doing what they doing. No, it's an energy that just create the season, and humans come up with things to do. That's how we got the war right now. Ain't no planets making people go to war. It's people creating characters around what they think about planets and then making war out of it. Because they created a moral system or something like that. That's the only way you ever gonna see life or what's going on. You ain't seeing life no other way. You ain't seeing no fart cloud teach nobody no alphabet. You ain't seeing no sun come down and make a person do something. You see a person interact with it in their own individual way. And we have a whole bunch of people doing it in gluttony ways, in ways to create war, in ways to create. That's what we see. You know what I'm saying? Let's not get confused. Real stuff. We see men and women down here being demons. Not a demon in the sky influencing people. We just got people being people. Or y'all in La La Land. Whatever y'all talking about. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Or thinking about in y'all life. Other than that, you know, that's how that go in this month. You know, yeah. I like all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Y'all stay spiritually protected. I gotta get back to work. I got a lot of readings, and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and get back. And I gotta finish this mixtape. And I gotta finish these photoshops. And I got a whole bunch of stuff. I'm saying. So y'all stay spiritually protected out there. And y'all persevere through all these witchcrafts that the government get ready to put y'all through this numerology, Gematria, and this astrology that they created to get y'all wrapped up in and get lost so you can't understand existence for yourself. And yabba dabba do, that's all, folks. You don't know that.